everyone, welcome to the video where I talk about Oracle decks and how to use them, what you need to know about them, and all of this is maybe to convince you to get your own self-love Oracle deck, which is of course featuring my artwork and going on sale soon. So this is a primer on Oracle decks, how to read them, what they can do for you. And I'm not going to use my own deck today because this is still the incomplete set. I am going to show you other sample decks and explain how they're different from tarot decks, because tarot decks have a bit of a stigma against them. But Oracle decks are really easy to use, and lately, due to Hay House Enduring Virtue, they've really become very approachable, very non-scary. And they're so simple to read. Now, whether or not you believe in angels, if you don't, there are decks for that as well. Whether you're using them for daily guidance, whether you're using them for advice on pressing questions, they're all so readable and easy to use now, because these Oracle decks from Hay House, they just always come with the message as well as the artwork. Right, and always have a bit of give you a bit of an action to take, and they even come with little books on how to cleanse, program, and read your cards as well. Now, the difference between Oracle decks and tarot decks is, of course, you don't need to know a lot of esoterica in order to read an Oracle deck. There's no suits, there's no symbols that you need to understand the hidden meanings of. The message is right there on the cards. Now, I have so many card decks because 3 years ago, I did tell myself that, I kind of want to find out how Oracle deck works, because I might want to design my own deck one day. And so I decided to go really hands-on and learn about how to use them, how to read them, in order to improve my own knowledge of, as an artist, how I might provide a deck that would really, cater to both the reader and the readee's experience. So you might still be wondering, when should I use the deck? How can I use it? What kinds of questions can I ask it? You can definitely use it every day as part of a daily practice. Perhaps before you begin your day, you actually, you can ask whoever you connect with, or leave it up to chance. But whoever you connect with, you can direct a question to them and just simply ask, what advice is there for me today? Or, how should I approach the day today? And what's the best attitude for me to approach the day today? Is there something I need to have in my mind as I go about my day today? And, it's as simple as shuffling and then drawing the card at the top when you feel that you've reached it. Another way to use the deck is to actually use it for questions. It could be like new situations. You find yourself in a new job, or you've just met a new person. The way I would usually phrase a question, or recommend phrasing a question, would be, is there anything I need to know about this new job? Is there a good approach that I should use for this situation? And is there some advice for me about the relationship between me and this person? So these are good questions. Not so good questions, not that there are any wrong questions to ask, but not so good questions might be those should I or should I not questions. Questions like, should I take this new job or not? Should I quit my current job or not? Should I marry this guy or not? Should I have, 5 or 10 kids? Should I buy this new, this car from the secondhand salesman I just met? Should I or should I not questions are actually quite disempowering, because you're not really taking responsibility for those decisions. You're actually just kind of palming the question off to a deck, when really you're trying to look for extra information that might help you with your decision. So I always feel that the better question to ask might be, is it beneficial for me to buy this new secondhand car or not? Is it beneficial for me to go ahead with this new business deal? And what should I know going into this situation? So, hi, welcome to the portion of the video where I'm going to kind of introduce you to some of the Oracle decks that I use. As you can see, I've got 5 here. I've actually got a lot more, but I think these are the ones I can easily explain and demonstrate to you the variety of Oracle cards out there and how, each deck can have its strengths and weaknesses and which questions you can use with certain decks and even which decks are most appropriate for certain types of people. Okay, so the Oracle deck, the Crystal Oracle that you see here, this one is a very old deck of cards from Tony Carmine Salerno. Salerno. I don't know. And all these are cards that are very, very, crystal based. As you can see, if you are a fan of crystals, this might be a deck that you want to get, especially if you're familiar with the different healing properties that you have. I have to say that just now when I asked a question, a sample question, like, what do I need in order to get through a busy period? This was actually the card I drew, which is Azurite. And Azurite is a blue stone, as you can see. And it's actually, yes, it's pretty soothing. It asks you to, it's very connected to the throat chakra and asks you to use your voice, but it's also a very grounding stone. And so if you are facing something like a very, very busy period, stay in your heart, stay grounded, stay calm, and maybe use your voice to either stand your ground and ask for less work or ask for some help. So this is how you might use the Crystal Oracle deck. Like, what advice do I need, for example, to get through a busy day? Yeah. Now, another deck that I like especially to use in mandala workshops and kind of sharing circles is this one. And this one is the Soul's Journey Lesson cards from Hay House. It's got beautiful artwork on the back and on the front as well. Just a few examples, okay? All very mandala based artwork. But this is an interesting deck because maybe if someone is familiar with Oracle decks, sometimes they don't expect the card that they draw from the deck. And that is because this deck isn't just all lovey-dovey advice. It sometimes can give really, really hard advice. And this is just one example, okay? If I get someone drawing the card worry, it's not telling you to worry. You've got to read the small text and it will tell you, I'm learning that worry doesn't change an outcome. Don't waste your energy on worry, for example. So some people don't immediately get that, but they have to meditate on it a bit. And this is just another card that I drew for the question of, what might be a good card for me right now. And this is self-esteem. So I'm, venturing into videos and trying to develop the self-confidence to share my knowledge with you. That is the Soul's Journey lesson cards. One more deck over here. It is the Angel Therapy Oracle cards from Doreen Virtue. And yes, she's done a lot to really bring Angel Oracle cards to the masses. Now people are not so afraid to turn to these cards for help. And you can see too that they're very, very easy to understand, like the law of attraction, relationships, and activities that you once enjoyed are now changing as you become more sensitive and aware of energies. So yes, going forward, a lot of us are now getting more sensitive and honoring, our feelings, our gut instincts, our intuitions. All these things are important as we really want to create a different kind of world and create the lives that we really want for ourselves. So deck like this, very good for questions like, what could help me in this certain situation? Just to draw another one, for example, okay, manifestation power, again, a big one. And, these cards make really good reminders on what to tap on for a certain point in time, for a certain question, right? So not very good, you notice so far, for should I or should I not questions. So I really don't like those questions sometimes. Now this is the messages from your angels card oracle deck, oracle cards, again from Doreen Virtue. And this was one of my earlier decks where, quite frankly, you don't even have to form a question in your head before you take a card from this deck. All of them have different angels on them. Okay. And they each come with a different message. So, no pressure. Don't really even have to ask a question, for example. And then you just shuffle till one either jumps out at you or you feel like stopping there. And then, visiting us, we have Indra, who says, "You are a light worker. God needs you to shine your divine light and love like an angel upon the earth and all its inhabitants." Yeah, I might be having a real crisis of confidence. I keep having angels telling me that, you know, work on my self-esteem and just talk anyway. Now, this is one of my most beautiful decks, and these are oracle decks per se because all these cards have different artwork on the back. And on the flip side, you actually have information on a goddess. So these are the goddess's knowledge cards. And I like bringing these to women's circles because, we're all goddesses. And we want to leave these circles sometimes with a little bit of inspiration. And whether people are shuffling or they're spreading them out, I mean, these are not easily spreading, but whether people are spreading them out and taking the card that really appeals to them, they'll read the back and get inspired by that energy or take some of that Guan Yin energy with them, for example. So these are different ways that oracle decks can be used. So one last deck that I'd like to show you is the Self-Love Oracle card deck. And like the other decks where it's so simple you don't even have to ask a question, this one is kind of like that as well. So just as an example, I'd like to show you one, and it says trust. And again, a sample message that a card might give you, and all these messages on all the cards were channeled by Scarlet CP. This one says, "We have been hurt many times before. Whether we've followed signs or not, we have been in situations that broke our hearts, smashed our spirits, froze our passion. Yet when we hear our heart's true calling, we cannot help but own up to the call. Again and again, you have to trust. Keep your hearts wide open so you can enter into perfect peace. Let perfect peace be your guide." So very, very good advice if you're facing a difficult situation and you feel, as if it's going to all go to pieces because that's always been your experience. But no, if you stay in a place of peace, it also works on the law of attraction that it's not going to be like your previous times. You have to let those previous experiences go. Take the lesson, but don't keep the hurt and move forward. Trusting that whatever you're going into now is exactly what you need to experience, and carrying that feeling of trust and faith in your heart, you're going to do a lot better and it's going to be different. Okay, so this is an example of how you would use the Self-Love Oracle deck. Yeah, and I hope this video overall has helped to convince you, how oracle decks are very, very easy to use. There's so much variety. There are, good questions and also good questions that you can ask them. And of course, it's the last appeal from me. If you'd like to order the Self-Love Oracle deck, then I'm going to provide all the informational links below. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I look forward and always welcome your comments and feedback. Thank you. Have a good day.